And find the inverse transform of f of s. F of s is natural log of s squared plus 36 over s squared plus 4. So if you remember, ln a over b is natural of a minus natural of b. So this is natural log of s squared 6 squared minus natural log of s squared 2 squared. So we will use a derivative. We have the Laplace transform of t, ft is minus f prime s. Here small ft is the inverse transform of big F of s. So this is to say that if you do the inverse transform both sides of that equation, you have t small ft inverse transform of big F is the inverse transform minus inverse transform of f prime s. So inverse transform of big F equal to minus 1 over t inverse transform big F prime of s. We will use this formula. This formula will help us to compute the inverse transform of the function. In this case, this function. It is difficult to compute it directly, but it is easier to compute it with the inverse transform of its derivative. So let's compute the inverse transform of the derivative. F of s equal to this. F of s equal to this. F prime of s. If you remember, natural log u prime over u. In this case, you think of u is s squared plus 6 squared. So u prime 2s divided by s squared plus 6 squared. You do the same for the second terms. 2s over s squared plus 2 squared. So you see that these functions, this term and this term are familiar. We can use a table to compute the inverse transform of that. Inverse transform of f prime of s is 2 times inverse transform s over s squared plus 6 squared minus 2 times inverse transform of s over s squared 2 squared. So you use a table. You remember that on the Laplace transform table, you know that Laplace transform of cosine of kt, this cosine kt will be transformed to s over s squared plus k squared. So we use that in this case. This one 2 times inverse transform of this one will be cosine of 60. Inverse transform of the second terms 2 times cosine 2t. So inverse transform of f prime of s equal to this. Now we apply the formula. This one. Inverse transform of big F of s is 1 minus 1 over t over minus 1 over t times inverse transform of f prime. So multiplies this term. And that will be the answers. Minus 2t over t cosine 6t minus cosine 2t.